Hey everyone, Wafa here for another career interview. Today with me, I have Salima Fajal Nanjani. I'm delighted to have her with us today. I'm so excited to share her insights and her story with all of you. So without further ado, let's bring her in. Salima, hello.
Hi, Wafa. Hi, everyone. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much. So excited to have this conversation with you today. So why don't we start and follow the tradition as usual? Please introduce yourself.
So I'm Salima, and I'm a legal and compliance officer at King Group. I am French originally, as you will be able to hear with the accent. I was born and raised in Paris, and then I started my career there after going to university in Paris Dauphine, and I did the French bar. Afterwards, I moved to London. It meant at the beginning just to be for a few months. I met my husband, and 15 years later, I'm still here, and I'm now dual national. I have worked in different companies in London and elsewhere, very international career. I have a family in London, and I've got two young children, red and naughty. Outside of work as well, I'm a school governor. I'm working in different charities, and hopefully I make a good use of my spare time, if any. And because on the side, I'm as well doing an Executive MBA in London Business School, which is rather demanding at the moment.
Thank you for introducing yourself. I mean, you have such an interesting career. What's the role of a chief legal and compliance officer?
I think it's literally having always a legal and a compliance angle to be able to think, okay, that's great, they're giving me those ideas, but from a regulatory point of view, I'm thinking of that can work or that cannot work. It's as well, being advocating for the investor, having their point of view in mind. And with everything that has happened lately, with the living crisis, with the pandemic, all the regulators and everyone is actually putting their focus on the consumers. How can I actually help them? How can I actually, in terms of loans, can they actually take enough in terms of finances and in terms of credit? So having their interest in mind, putting yourself in their shoes. And I think as well, being in law somehow means sometimes you also have to manage conflict and, reflect on reaction and attribution and take responsibility and literally keep your eyes on the group mission and the common ground. So I think it's literally being a bit of everything, being a lawyer, yes, but being a psychologist, thinking as well of the consumers, which you are one of them after all sometimes, as well, thinking of those different conflicts of interest that might happen and having the best interest of the company in mind, but as well of the consumers.
So what skills are required to be successful in regulations?
I think you need to start by having this ability to have this clarity of thoughts. That's really important, because when you've got very complex law coming to you, to be able to literally explain them, like you would explain them sometimes to children, like you'd explain them literally to people who don't have those years of legal background that you have. So that's something which is very important. You don't want to lose focus. Your focus is to protect someone. That can be the company, the investor. You want to keep that in mind. And ultimately, I think you do need actually to have very good communication skills. So the fact of being bilingual does help, because actually if one language doesn't work, the other one might help out. So all of those would actually be really helpful in pursuing a successful career. And then there's things actually that you need to cultivate. You need to try to have charisma. You need to constantly work on your education. That's super important, because law will literally change on a daily basis.
What led you to switch countries and start your career in another country?
I felt like going internationally would provide actually me way more opportunities. And London felt like a good step because I'm not far from Paris. I still have friends and family that I can visit. And I felt like it was a more open-minded country.
Off camera, you told me that how France, according to you, was not the right environment for you and how it didn't really make you feel comfortable. Tell me more about what you mean by that and what it means to feel comfortable in a work environment.
I feel like actually in London, you are given more chances at a younger age. And this is why when I came 15 years ago, I was able actually to prove myself, and it took way less time than it would have in Paris. I feel as well like people they have bias still in London and everywhere else, but they do have way less. And this is what helped me. And to be in this complete new environment where actually they judge you actually way less where you come from. Because actually when I go in Paris, it's like one of the first question is, where are you from? And this is way more question. Well, actually, when I'm in London, everybody being such a melting pot and everybody being from a different part of the world, it matters way less. So it was, yes, way more open-minded, and it allowed me in terms of growth to be able to just go further.
What you say makes a lot of sense. And I think I'm pretty amazed how at such a young age, when you first started your career, you had enough awareness to understand what it is that you're looking for in a working environment, how it was important for you to feel accepted and to feel integrated and to have, a lot of opportunities to prove yourself and climb the ladder. All right, so I feel like now it's time to deep diving into the early years of your career, Salima. So tell me what it was. I mean, you and I spoke before, and I know you started your career in a CAC 40 company, which is basically just large French company in London, which was in finance, but you work in law. So tell me about your early years, the challenges you've overcome, and what you learned from them.
Like a plant, water the network regularly, trying to meet the people, and nothing literally can beat having a bit of luck and being, with the right people at the right time. So I've managed to really be well surrounded. There is those saying that you're actually the sum of the 5 people that are surrounding you. I was actually always, like, my husband's been always very much mentoring me. So I was very well surrounded. My parents were both teachers. So academically, I've always done really well. So just benefiting from the right circle has really helped. And then trying to cultivate it. They tell you that to build the right teams at work, you need to have this cognitive diversity. And somehow with my surrounding, being from a successful community, because I'm part of the Ismaili community, so we follow the Aga Khan. So they're teaching you from very young age about like a society which is built on meritocracy. So believing in this value of the meritocratic society, and then working with, the right people, the result was going actually to be beneficial in any case.
You speak a lot about this idea of having the right environment to work in, and it's incredibly important. What advice would you give to professionals out there who, unfortunately, don't have that luck to be surrounded by, high energy people, inspiring people, and they find themselves right now currently in an environment, whether at home or at work, which is not uplifting?
Then I would say it doesn't stop you, embracing this growth mindset. And if this is not, you don't get it from the people, nothing stops you getting it from your readings, from your different book, from some, TED talk on YouTube. Really, you will find your own heroes to actually build this amazing journey. And it's very important, one of the the quote that I really like, and I feel like it's really true, is actually don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant, which is Robert Louis Stevenson. And I think it's just really true. It's, you will become visionary and you will be able to empower and inspire people around you as well. And it will start, literally by one person. But do it, start with books, start actually to put your time, your energy and your money in the right direction. Those three things, if you determine your priorities, so for example, if this is growing your network, have a look how much of those you dedicate to it, and that will help. And there's that book about atomic changes, which tell you to make those small incremental changes on a daily basis. And that would really help. And I believe in that. I'm literally making small changes every day. And that really helps, and that pays off.
What you just said truly resonates indeed. And I love your advice. Absolutely. If you find yourself in an environment that doesn't resonate with you, literally start by finding ways you can start soaking yourself in the things that align more with who you are, whether it's through books, podcasts, TED Talks, gyms, societies, like you said. And then little by little, you will attract more of these things, right? You will encounter more opportunities. You will be enticed to take steps towards those opportunities that reflect those circles more and more and more, whether at work or in life. Since the beginning of our conversation, I think there's this recurring idea of, working in the right environment. And because you work in regulations, there's another very related idea of constantly improving yourself and learning nonstop. So basically, I'm hearing two things. One, ongoing self-development. Two, self-growth from your environment. So obviously, those two main ideas led you to pursue an MBA. Tell me more about your decision to pursue an MBA. How was it, and why did you choose to go down that path?
I come actually from a very educated family to start with. They really value education. The second thing as well is I was getting bored and I wanted to expand my horizon. And it became obvious because at the time of the pandemic, I had more time. And of course, because work was giving more flexibility. So this is where it all started working to do all the exam, all the interviews to be taken. I wanted LBS. It was close to my heart because of the geographical proximity, because it was international, because I didn't want to go to France to do INSEAD. So a few of those reasons. And it was really hard because actually doing something like that during the pandemic, when actually you've got this 100K degree, and there's so much job insecurity around you, so much restructuring happening, because in the UK we had Brexit. We suffered as well with the pandemic. So we had so much of that. It wasn't an easy decision to make. Was it the right time? I don't know if I did it during the right time, but I couldn't. If I was to push it again, I might not have done it. And actually, based on the time and commitment that it actually took, I'm not sure if you were to ask many people who did it, would they do it again? I'm not sure the answer would always be yes. So here I was, and I wanted to start. And I was so fortunate because I was between jobs and I actually got a scholarship. There was no way back then. It was diversity in leadership scholarship. And I knew that it was literally, a bit like The Secret. It's literally like destiny pushed me forward, and it was meant to be. And here I was starting it. And I've met actually some amazing people. We were lucky enough as well to attend the courses on site, which was really lucky. We are now catching up with the travel, and in a few days' time, I'll actually have the hat, the gown, And beginning of next year, I should have a piece of paper. So it's all in hand, and fingers crossed, it was all worth it.
I think this is one of the first times that I hear someone working in corporate, like a busy professional that works in a very corporate setting, talk about the law of attraction. So tell me, what's your understanding of the law of attraction and how you think you sort of benefited from it in your career?
Yeah, so the law of attraction is literally asking for what you want and you get it. So for me, I do have a vision board. It's literally like a board in my bedroom where I actually put what I'd like. So what type of opportunities I want, what I want for myself, or sometimes even for others. And I have this visual reminder on a daily basis, and it actually gives you a subliminal message of where you want to be and what you want to be achieving. And without you realizing, you're actually on a daily basis doing everything for it to happen. And then I'm going actually a few steps further, because I put those visual goals, but I actually am writing, and then I'm slotting my medium-term goal in the long-term goals, and then my daily goals in the medium-term goals. So like that, it all fits together. And that's really helpful for me. Actually, it's almost like you would do it in the strategy of a company, where actually, you'd work toward those smart objectives. And this is the way I work personally as well. So we would like, for example, to move in a bigger house. And this is on the vision board, and this is how I've approached it. And you've got to remember as well that when somebody, when I've got guests, and some people for France might come, they do see my vision board, and sometimes they do ask me about it. And the fact just of talking about your commitment is more likely to make it happen. So it's a bit like, you're self-committing again. So this is how it works.
I love that idea of a vision board. This is definitely something that I practice and something that I share with my clients as well. As well as, it's not only doing a vision board, it's also like extracting those goals from the vision board, and then putting a pen to paper, drafting them, and then asking yourself, hey, so what's the timeline? In which timeline do I want to, and can I accomplish these goals, and what resources do I need, and what obstacles can come my way, and how I can overcome them?
Yes. Yeah.
This is something you summarized last time we spoke off camera, with this group of words: performance-driven life.
Yes, it's literally that. And actually, you do need to work like that, and try literally, okay, for example, let's say you want more opportunities in another country. You literally need to think, okay, who can I pinpoint on LinkedIn to be able to get those opportunities? What group can I join? What actually video can I watch? It's literally slotting it all to be able at the end to get your goal. And yes, I've got actually a very data-driven life, where I'm actually working, okay, I want this to happen this year, so I need those little steps. And it's literally like, the little step would make you do that big jump at the end. I apply it actually to my team as well, by the smart objective that they have to come up with, which are actually meant to slot in the team objective, which are meant to slot in the company objective. So actually we are applying it one way or another. Then anybody will call it the way they want, but it was very, when you read The Secret, it's just very revealing.
100%. And that's why I'm so happy that you're the one who's really sharing this in your own words, because you're a manager, you're an executive. So therefore, the way you apply it in your, in the company you work for, and the way you apply it in your life, we think, oh my gosh, it's so different, but no, it's the same principles. you visualize a goal, you have that goal, you break it down into small steps, and then you think, how can I strategically plan to reach those goals by back solving into it, and see what resources I can use to get there faster. And if there are obstacles, which there are always, what support can I find to mitigate. And that's why it's relevant coming from you, because you work in the financial industry and you also work as a lawyer, and both lawyers and finance people, they have to back solve into goals, data, and KPIs, how to reach those goals. And also they have to think, okay, so there's this law, there's this conflict, how can I mitigate those risks, and how can I find allies and supports to make it happen. So it makes complete sense when you explain it. Thank you very much. Salima, what did doing an executive MBA do for you in terms of building your career and finding a new role?
I think it's really helping you in terms of self-reflection, because they make you go out of your comfort zone constantly. When you're not making videos, like I've been writing my eulogy, I've been doing things which I wasn't expecting to. And it's really for you to be able to understand what kind of impact you want to make professionally and in life in general as well. To just be able to bring your better self at work, in your study group, and to actually have a think as well of what you want to be in work, but as well outside of work. And it's not automatically incompatible always, but as we have longer times in, like some people are talking about 100-year journey now, we would be living way longer. So there will be a time when you actually need some type of reconversion. So having a thought about those different phases of life, those different professional phases as well. And all that, you're not doing it all on your own. It's actually coming as well with the network, with the tools to do it. You are put in position of being, a worker, but an entrepreneur as well. You do different types of simulation. You actually go and do the courses that fit your life and where you'd like to see yourself at a later stage.
So I love your response, because typically when we ask people, hey, what was the value for you to do an MBA? They always talk about the network, and that's a given, of course. However, I love how you went above and beyond and talked about something that's truly underrated, which is the introspection, the space and time to reflect about yourself. It's a reset button that allows you to ask yourself, hey, who am I and what do I want to accomplish going forward, whether in life or especially in my career. And my understanding is that after that MBA, all that introspection, all those strategic questioning allowed you to sort of be very clear on what were the next steps of your career. So now you've found a job after that MBA. How does that job align with all the findings you've gotten from that introspection that you've done in your MBA?
What really helped me in the job is actually providing me the flexibility as well that I need to be able to, yes, work on those different assignments, yes, being able to travel. And I think, this is my conception. This is something I wanted to pass on to my team, because when I had my very first boss, I remember him being very trusting, and he told me, I don't really care if you work from the seaside, as long as the work is done. And this is really what I apply myself. I don't think like people should be showing, this old style management, completely archaic, which is who is the boss, which I find very demeaning and demoralizing. I really like trust people, and as long as the work gets done, I don't believe in micromanagement. And this is really what I apply, because after all, we're all adults here. And it really, I feel, empower them, inspire them, and then they actually give better results. And that was my case. You can be sure that if he was actually to tell me you can work from the seaside, I'll be the first one in the office and the last one to leave, just because of this trust that he was putting on me. That really helped me out.
Absolutely. And so here we hear again this common denominator of working in an environment that uplifts you. You talk about trust, really, really important. And I think that's one of the many reasons behind the Great Resignation movement that we see, is a lot of the old school management doesn't understand is the millennials, you're one of them, of course. When we force them to stay in one place, it does the opposite. They want to leave. Versus if you just give them more autonomy, more trust, just let them live a little, so to speak, at work, it does an amazing thing, which is encouraging them to do more and to be more invested in what they do. So that's exactly what you just described now. It's fantastic. Talking about millennials, talking about young years, what would you do differently if you were to look back when you first started your career?
I remember as well when I was young, and those conversations I was having with my very first boss, he turned around and told me, Salima, it's very important that you have a salary that helps you get up in the morning. And I believe that something that women in particular need to be more ambitious here, because when you see this Maslow pyramid, you have this basic need, the psychological need, and then the self-fulfillment one, and you have this need of recognition which ranks quite high in this pyramid, and that helps being valued. We still hear about those gender gap that actually should be erased, hopefully with time. I'm hoping we have this conversation today, but we would not have the same conversation in 10 years' time. So I think this is where I would work better and show again more ambition if I could go back in time.
But it's important. And so how would you do it differently then? How would you negotiate your salary?
It's funny because one of the very good tips that you have, in particular for a lady, we are way more efficient when we negotiate on behalf of someone else. So you just pretend you're negotiating salary for somebody else and you'll achieve better results. And I think this is probably why as well you have way more ladies now in law, because advocating for somebody else gives you better results. If I was to negotiate something for me and I was to negotiate something for my son, I know in which situation I'll be way more efficient.
Thank you, Salima, so much for all of your insights. What's your last word that would help all the viewers find opportunities in working environments that uplifts them and builds them up?
I think it's important actually to persevere and to aim to become one of those role models that we've been discussing, and literally like to persevere is to succeed. Work hard, work smart, and work on making an impact.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Where can people find you, Salima?
You'll find me on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect anytime. Feel free as well just to drop me a line. Any social media. I'll always be hopefully able to make time and just have a coffee in London or elsewhere.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your time with our audience today. Thanks everyone for watching this video. I hope you truly enjoyed this career chat with Salima today. Obviously, she's had an amazing career, started in France and then moved to London, built everything from scratch there. And I think the common highlight for me that I take away from this conversation is definitely how she strived to constantly find the right working environment for herself. An environment where she could build her skills and develop and prosper both as an individual and as a professional. So if you're watching this video, make sure that you take some time to reflect. You don't have to do an MBA for that. You can take some time on your own to find a proper space for yourself to think and reflect on where you are right now and what would be a good environment for yourself to develop and grow. It could be the corporate field, it could be working in startups, it could be to start your own company. No matter what you choose, find something that makes you happy and makes you feel fulfilled. Stay tuned for next week's video. I will share Salima's information in the description box below, and see you next time. Bye.